Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of The Chrysalis Effect, where we are transforming mind, money, and manifestations. I am Monique White, your host, your transformation strategist, and today we are going to continue the conversation with expert psychotherapist Natolie Warren on the connection between mind, money, and manifestations. But before we get started, I of course have to ask. I ask you to like, comment, share with 3 people, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. So let's pick up on the discussion with Natolie Warren on the mind, money, and manifestation connection, specifically manifestation. Sometimes in our teachings and in our studies, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between the mindset piece and the manifestation piece. So can we delve a little bit more into that?
Yes, certainly. So the disconnect between mindset and manifestation, nothing manifests without mindset, without thoughts, right? And so if we have blocks in our thinking around that, we won't be able to manifest it, or we will have a delay in what we are wanting to manifest. And I have seen that as well. So you're saying, this is what I want, but then your thoughts aren't aligned with that. Your behaviors aren't aligned with that. You're not showing up in the way you need to align with that. I often will tell women who you're becoming. How would she respond? How would she show up? How will she handle this situation? And then that allows you to align yourself to manifest what it is that you want. And I think that's so important, even not being clear on what you want. You know, you're saying, I'm open to this or this, but I'm not really sure. Maybe, I guess, I'm doubting it. Maybe it'll happen. It doesn't put you in an alignment to manifest it, to really see that thing happen. And so that is certainly a direct connection between our mindset and our thoughts and what actually happens.
Right. That's good. That's really good. So we toss around this word manifestation a lot, and it comes kind of fuzzy. We got this whole thing, I manifested it. What does that mean?
Good question. Yes, we need to clarify, because I don't think it's magical, right? So I believe that manifestation is either that you're going to create something or you're going to attract something. I think it's just as simple as that. I'm either going to create it or I'm going to attract it. And that is how I believe we manifest things. And it doesn't, again, seem so magical. Sometimes it's the step by step. It's the decisions that you made that aligned you with the next decision. Or sometimes it's that you're in a certain space and something about you attracts those things to you. And I've seen that. I've seen myself being selected for something that I didn't even apply for, because I was in a position, I was ready for it. I was open to it. And so I think that makes it very simple.
Yeah. I like that. And actually, the way you framed it, it illustrates that there's steps to go with it. There's work that goes with it. And then the attraction, and I think people get stuck on the attraction. They don't look at the work part of it, but they get stuck at the attraction. But the attraction is the result of the work. Mm-hmm. If that clarifies it to the listener, the attraction is the result of the work. Because of the work, people see the work that you're doing that attracts them to you. Because of the work, you're now in rooms with other people who see what you're doing, who see the results of your work, which attracts them to you. Whether it's by, their person, their time, their talent, or their money. It's not just, I'm a dreamer. And this is what I think most people think. I'm going to sit here and dream it and it's going to show up. It's kind of like, I prayed for this, Lord. Now I'm going to sit back here and I'm just going to tap my feet and I'm going to wait.
Absolutely. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But sometimes it's also, too, I wanted to add, Monique, it is listening to what I believe is your inner guidance, listening to God within, listening to intuition, all of these different things we call it. Because sometimes you will get a message that says, go to the grocery store, right? And you're like, go to the grocery store now, I don't have time to go, not knowing that you would encounter somebody at the checkout line that maybe you can help, or that may know somebody that you need. And so sometimes it's following the guidance that you get and being able to follow through with it and trust yourself with it is also a way that I've seen you create it. You attract it by the actions that you take.
Right. Say, now you just said 3 steps right there. Listening, following through, and you said trust.
And trust. Yep. I always say, listen, trust, follow. Yep.
So if y'all didn't catch it, I caught it for you. There you go. The 3, listen, trust, follow, but sometimes people are afraid to get real with themselves. People are afraid to get still and to listen to that inner voice, that the Holy Spirit's urging, that intuition. What would you say to them? What kind of work needs to take place to really get to it? Because that takes some work in itself. I mean,
Yes.
Because especially in today's society, when we're going, there's not much time, and people aren't taking much time to just sit down and be still.
Absolutely. It takes a process. Everything you're going to hear me say is a process. So one of the reasons why we don't want to sit and hear, because a lot of what we hear could be very negative. Remember what I said, 75% of your thoughts are negative. So they bombard us when we sit down. They get loud. That critical voice can also show up. And so it's challenging for that reason, but it's also challenging because we're busy. It is hard to hear if you got a lot of noise. But silence actually has answers in it. Silence actually has answers. If you go back to the scriptures, he said it didn't come in the wind. He didn't come in this. He came in a soft voice. It was quiet. And so answers come in silence. And I remembered, I believe God, he set me up for this one, Monique. You won't believe it. But it was some years ago, I did 5 a.m. prayer. Now, that was already the first problem. It was 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And the commitment, this is true. The commitment to do that every day, forever in my mind was too much. So I did for 7 days. And each 7 day I would recommit. And my friend and I were doing it together. I would recommit every 7 days because doing it forever just felt like too much. But in the time that I did that, God had me to wake up. And then he said, I don't want you to say nothing. So I'm at 5 a.m. already the first problem. Now he says for 45 minutes, I don't want you to say nothing. And so every time I had a thought, I had to bring it back down. Now you can imagine all the thoughts I had at 5 a.m. Okay. I'm ready to get back in my bed. It's cold. I can't say nothing. What I'm going to eat for breakfast? Like all of these things bombarded my mind, but I didn't know God was teaching me how to quiet my mind. And I did that. And when I tell you there is a peace that surpasseth all understanding, you hadn't seen it yet. If you haven't gotten into a space of silence, there is a peace that you get, but there is a hearing that you hear God, I believe, on a whole nother level. And you will never want to get out of that space. You will create the time to do that. But that's how you do it. But for some people, they're already thinking 45 minutes is too much, Monique. I can barely do 2 minutes. And what I offer is start with that. Start with 60 seconds. And if you need to start with, and I teach about, just focus on one item and focus on that one item for 60 seconds. Your mind is going to wander. Don't get mad at it. Just know that's what it's supposed to do. But every time it gets off of that object, come back to the object. Every time it comes, go back to the object. And you start to train your mind on how to quiet itself. But he tricked me. If I would have known that was what he had me to do when I started, I probably wouldn't have done it.
That is wonderful. There is silence has answers in it. Silence has answers in it. And just start with 60 seconds. It's a training of your mind. I love it. Actually, I unbeknownst to myself, I had scheduled myself just, get up at 6:30. Well, first of all, this new time change is not, I'm not with it. I'm still on daylight savings time. So I'm still waking up. But I've said, I'm going to designate this time to be with the Lord. And I've noticed as the weeks go by, I'm getting up earlier and earlier. And that's just my time with the Lord. That's just my time with the Lord, our quiet time, so to speak. But you need that every day. You need that to get yourself, started on the correct foot for the day, the correct mindset. And that way, because once I get started, Lord knows what's going to happen. I could say I'm going to set aside whatever for devotions, but life happens, got kids, job, everything, but this is our time. I love that. Just 60 seconds, because it is hard. Mm-hmm. You don't realize it until you try it. It's hard not to think, have thoughts just try to encroach, but start with 60 seconds. That's great. I love it. So we talked about mindset. We talked about manifestation. We talked about money, but you've mentioned over and over again, these mindset blocks. These mindset blocks. Let's talk about a few of those.
Ooh, let's see. Where do we start? We have, I think it's, if we put it into categories, we have 3: confidence blocks, we have time blocks, and we have money blocks. If we were to kind of sum it up from my perspective, confidence blocks are those things that we say, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough. That can be a confidence block. I don't know enough, right? I have to learn more. I got to take another training. I got to get another teacher. Like, all of those are confidence blocks, things that will impact us from feeling that we are capable of doing this. Time blocks, and I see it so often. Many times we have beliefs that we don't have enough time, that we've run out of time, or that we've wasted time. And that oftentimes puts us in this space of rush, get it done. I got to go. I got to make it happen. And we don't enjoy the moment. We don't slow down to celebrate our successes. But all of those are around time blocks. And I really give people affirmations to say that time is on your side. You are exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment. And in hard and difficult times, that is hard to accept. Like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. But wherever you find yourself, there is value and there is lessons. And there's something that wants to grow in and through you, wherever you are. And if you can grab that, I believe you can redeem time. I've seen where God has fast forwarded my life. Mm-hmm. I've seen it happen, but it was when me getting in divine timing and accepting where I was before I'm trying to get where I needed to go.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, let's stay there. Accepting where I was before I tried to get where I wanted to go. And gratitude is such a powerful, powerful changer of that, where you just say, you know what, I'm thankful for the house that I have right now and how it's serving me. I'm thankful for the people that I get to serve right now. I'm thankful for my husband or my partner or my family who supports me right now. It puts you in that space. So that helps with the time block. But then that last one is the money block. And we've dabbled in that already. But one of the things you have to realize with money is whatever your judgments are about it, you have to be careful of your judgments because they will block you. So if you think that people who have money, and people who have money are lazy, like, why do they need to have help? Won't they watch their own kids or clean their own house? I had to do the work to release the judgments that I had because my block around money was my own insecurities. So when I saw them prospering and doing what they love, it made me feel insecure. And that is one of the things we have to do with money blocks. So those are just an overview of the blocks that we have and how they could show up in our lives. Right.
Well, and I love the way that you put it, but it seems that they can, and I know they can intertwine. They can flow into one another. For example, I had a conversation about 2 weeks ago with my mastermind sisters. And I was speaking from a personal perspective that, I was taking a step back. We typically meet, once a week and we co-work. We say what we're working on and we co-work and we discuss how we can support each other's goals. And I was like, you know what? When it came to me, I'm like, nothing. I'm not working on anything today because I've been sat down, because I recognized that I was doing too much. You know, we tend to, sometimes you get sucked into, taking all these courses and all these trainings, and this one said to do this, and they said I need to do this way, and I need to do that at this time, and it becomes overwhelming, and it snowballs where you end up losing your own vision that God gave you, your purpose that God gave you, and you live theirs. You start doing everything that everybody else tells you to do on their timing. And what's it look like? You're stressed out. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're frustrated. You're feeling like you don't have enough time. You don't know where the time went, right? And you feel like you're always behind the 8 ball. But there's a physical manifestation to that also. You're now, we got insomnia. Now you're constantly, your cortisol levels are high because you're constantly in this fight or flight mode, and you lose the joy. You lose the joy of what you're doing. And for me, it was coming to the realization of God didn't tell me to do this this way. And I'm really, I'm coming snappish with my kids. I can't sleep. I got health issues now. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to sit back because it's not fun anymore doing their stuff. And I'm doing what they were told, and nothing, and it's no shade against them because that's their purpose and whatever, and their calling. And that's what was meant for them. But it wasn't necessary. So often when we follow people, or when we have mentors or coaches, so often we mistakenly try to be them.
That's right. Or follow their path, your path maybe do.
Exactly. So what you said, that just resonated so much with me, because I also just saw it last night. One of my Facebook friends who's going through something, and just like I had to, she's struggling with retraining herself, but no, she doesn't have to do anything right now except take care of herself.
That's right.
And but you have to reprogram yourself, so to speak. You have to reprogram yourself, and it takes training, like you said, just because it's hard. That 60 seconds, it might not sound like much, but that 60 seconds, when you're not used to doing that, it's hard not to just to stay still and listen.
No, I certainly agree. And as you were speaking, I've been there. I've been where I felt people were advising me, and I don't think they were doing it in a wrong or bad way. I am an advocate for coaching. But it felt like something was stripping away at my soul. And I was questioning everything. Questioning, did I really hear this? Am I supposed to do this? Maybe I shouldn't have done it. Maybe I missed it. It was a very difficult time. And I ended up with, as the Bible says, a heart deferred makes the heart sick. I didn't know my heart was broken. But what I did to get out of that, and this wasn't long ago, is I questioned everything. I started questioning everything. Why am I doing this? What is it that I want to accomplish? When do I feel most fulfilled? How can I help people in a way that serves them? Like, I question everything, but then I question everything in life. Why do I believe that I have to wash clothes on Saturday morning? Who told me that? Right. Like, I started to question everything because we have mindsets, and those mindsets are just a set of beliefs that influence or determine our actions and our behaviors, but we don't question them. Why do I think this? And I did it on all levels. And I mean all levels, even in my own spiritual walk. And I've walked with God for 34 years. I'm only 41. But I questioned everything because I wanted to get to a point where I knew what was true for me. And so I certainly can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm hearing it. And I don't know if just the circumstances of today, with everything going on, we're in tumultuous times, is amplifying everything, but I'm hearing it more and more. But I love that. Question everything, and give yourself grace. Too often we can be our own worst enemies. Give yourself grace. You do not have to be doing all the things for everyone all the time. And I think we set ourselves up in a way. We set ourselves up. So that is my prayer for you, ladies and gentlemen, that you hear what Natalie's saying. Don't set yourself up. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Listen, follow, trust, be aware of those blocks, and take, just 60 seconds. Start with 60 seconds to be still, to listen. And there were so many things in this conversation. You might have to go back and listen to it 2 or 3 times. But Natalie, I thank you so much. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to talk about 2 things. Awaken to power. Let's talk about that before you go.
Yes, there is, I believe, unlimited power and potential in each of us. And we have to awaken to it, to know that we have it, that to know it's our birthright. It is something, the fact that you were born says that you are eligible for this, so you don't have to earn it. No one can take it from you because it's not given to you. It is your innate right. And so stepping into that power and awakening into it, you got to develop it though. You got to awaken to it and then develop it and then really, really stand in it and show up in your power. And for many of us, we're called to serve others. And so then you're able to give that to the world and to show up in a better and greater way. But I believe it's within us all. And it's always been there. So Awaken to Power is all about that.
Okay, love it. Well, also on that note, in your purpose and in your calling, doing the work with Awaken to Power, I know that you have a retreat coming up. You have a retreat coming up in Costa Rica, of all places, in 2022. What can the participants expect?
Oh, I am glad to share it. Thank you. We're doing Breath to Life in Costa Rica. So this is actually retreat number 8 for me. So I've been doing them for a while. We're taking it Thank you. We're taking it international. And what we're going to do is really work on what we've talked about, really helping women to release fears, wounds, trauma, stuff from the past. What we don't know is that we hold and store that stuff in our bodies. And so we're going to do a lot of work with releasing the stuff that's been held up into your body. But God gave me the name Breath to Life because in the beginning, he breathed the breath of life into man and he became a living soul. And so it's going to awaken you to who you've always been, who you were called to be, and really help you to create a life that you desire. And I know so many women desire, and men desire, to have a life that they want and they love. And so as we release and shed and let go of, then you can really stand into receiving what you really want. And so that's going to be the process. And it just happens to be in Costa Rica that we're going to do that amazing work in the middle of the jungles. We're going to be in the middle of the jungles to really put ourselves in a place of connecting with nature and God. So I'm delighted and excited to be able to do that.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing experience. Is that open only to women?
That is. Most of the work that I do is for women. So it's for women who are ready to step into their next. They don't need to know how to do it. And they just want to go away on a luxury experience and do it. All right.
Wonderful. You don't want to miss that. I might have to, you might see me lurking around there a little bit. Sounds like it's going to be awesome, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing your time and your talent with my audience. Audience, thank you for joining me again. And my guest again, I don't take it lightly. I wish you a absolutely awesome day and week. As always, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on my social media channels at Triumph Services. SVCS is the abbreviation, or on my website, www.triumphsvcs.com. That is all for today. I'll see you right back here next week, same time, same channel. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.